let's lift the, which is a direct cut or direct strike to the face or head. And this kind of attack and this kind of training is very common and very basic in Japanese Aikido. I think people in America maybe find it hard to understand. But in the actual training, it's very difficult to attack, to negotiate. So this is a very excellent kind of training method and develops your irimi technique, your moving, spacing, timing from all different aspects. So please do not ignore this kind of training. I've heard comments from instructors saying that this is very difficult or it's hard to do or something like that. But you study faithfully, study until you understand it. That's important. There's no quitting, no stopping in training. You keep doing it until you understand it, until you master it. That's all. Okay. So Shomenguchi, coming striking to the head, okay, or standing this way, keep striking head, this cut. Okay, the side, striking here. Or sometimes striking chest with his fist, take a fist, sometimes striking here. But generally we say face here, okay? Side, striking, good. And also, please make your attack reach. When you're practicing, do not strike here, do not strike here. Not here, okay? If I'm training, don't make your blow here, okay? Always strike his face. And when you're striking, try to use your legs and hips. Don't just use your hand. When you're striking, don't just use your hand. And don't make a weak attack. Use your center, use your hip as you step in, strike strongly. Okay? Strike strongly. Okay, if you change his feet, not here. No good. No good. Meaningless. Wasting time. Straight. Okay. First, irimi. Strike. Good. Strike. You have to catch his timing. You move, just too late. Irimi. Okay. What you're doing, stop, slide, and half turn. Just as we've been doing in other techniques, slide, half turn. And there's again a hidden technique, atemi. He's striking, strike, strike. The side, strike. Okay? But be careful, come slowly. Don't spend too much time worrying about the strike. The strike comes with the movement of the hips. As you're sliding forward, turning, striking. And this is an important training tool because it keeps you from running away. If you're striking and you run to the side, it's going to follow you. You don't want to step straight back, it's going to follow you. If you're striking and I run to the side, no way to hit. No way to hit. As you're coming in, inside. Which is timing. Okay. Moving. Don't block his hand. Don't try to push his hand sideways because his hand will come back, strike. If I push sideways, strike. And don't let your hand come up this way because now you expose your body to his punch. Okay? Coming up, no good. Punch. Okay? This side, don't let it come up. It can punch you. Okay? Don't push sideways. Okay? And don't let your arm collapse. Okay? Strike well. Don't let your arm collapse. Cut down. Cut down. Slowly. Here. Cut down. Always be behind your opponent. Okay? Half step is no good. The elbow can come and strike you. Behind. Behind. Not collapsing. Okay? Not pushing sideways. Okay? Behind. Down. Hook. Irimi. Both hands down. Step back. Bring to your shoulder. Up. Turn. Go. Behind well. Down. Step back. Secure to your shoulder. Turn. Step so. And later, catch his timing better. Okay, next. Round. Instead of taking the neck as an irimi nage, as we've been doing, catch his wrist. Down. And finish as usual. Here, don't catch neck. Come down his elbow. As a footnote to this kind of training, study the irimi movement for shomenguchi against wooden sword, against bokken. I think this is a very good alternative method for your practice. If striking, no way to block it. Okay? No way to block it. And of course, holding a sword, no way to catch his hand. Irimi. Strike strongly. Irimi. Okay, good. Strike inside. Okay. Don't try to run away. If striking, can't run to the side. Don't run to the side. And don't try to step back straight. Okay. Move inside. Now bring bokken closer here. Okay. Then from here let him strike. Ouch. Okay. Now just take this much room. He strikes. Hard to move. Hard to move. Move inside. Inside. Okay. If you try to calculate when he's going to strike, or if you try to react to his strikes, it's always going to be late. It's always going to be late. It's always going to be late. So if I say, feel his attack, I think everyone's going to say, what does that mean? What does that mean? You have to get into the training. Get into the training, practice this. Maybe you get hit many times, but try to feel his movement. Okay? Don't react to him. Don't try to predict the attack. Don't try to calculate the attack. Don't try to prevent the attack. Don't try something clever. Okay? So when you feel his, I don't even want to say when you feel his ki, because if you're looking for his ki, bang, you're going to get hit. Okay? It's a timing, but it's also a kind of feeling kind of thing. That's all. That's the only way I know how to say it. Not maybe you're getting sick of seeing these kind of techniques, but very important. You're taking from Shomen-uchi, from direct strike, attack, one of your most basic, most fundamental training techniques. And as you advance, I think, in my opinion, every beginner, every intermediate student, every advanced student should master these techniques. Shomen-uchi, inside, okay, moving. Again, don't try to block. And a common error is too stiff like this. You have to catch this movement with kind of round, circular movement. You're not trying to collapse your hands. You're not trying to make your hands stiff, but make round movement, and not only catch his arm, but catch the timing of his whole body. Round, circular movement. So not straight, but round movement. Second control. Hand is this way. Use your thumb. Around. Okay. This way. Use your thumb. This way. Use your thumb. Hand is this way. Open your hand. Bring your thumb. Turn. Moving in, round. Thumb, down, and in Nikyo Tenkang, or second control Tenkang, it's very, very important to keep his elbow down, keep his balance broken. And also, the hand change is just a little bit different. Keep him down. This time, your elbow hand change to wrist hand. Like this, change. Here, change. Then, keeping him low, step back to his side. Catch, bring to your shoulder. Apply Nikyo. Again. What I see often in practice, which you don't want to do, is once you get your opponent down, don't allow him to come up again. For instance, here, don't allow him to come up. Now, standing up again, Nikyo is very difficult. Also, you're opening yourself to his attack. Again, don't let this hand come up. Don't bring him up. Come up, keep him down. And right away, don't give him a chance to regain his balance. That's one of the points which are slightly different in this kind of sequence of techniques. Sangcho, Yongcho is just about the same as in the other attacks. same. Yongkyo. Be sure you bring him off balance. Catch. Bring him off. Next method of moving in is stepping to the side as we're striking Shomenguchi and strike. Okay? So you're stepping, moving to the side. Not quite like Irimi, but very similar. Irimi, moving deep. Okay, Ikkyo, moving forward. Okay. Side step, strike. Sangkyo, number 3 hold. Okay. You're striking something like Irimi, but a little bit more space. Strike, down, strike. Sangkyo. This one changes into Irimi Nage as well. Strike. Strike. Inside. Turn. Next, variation from Shomenguchi Ikkyo. Ikkyo, but stuck. Getting stuck, cut inside. His neck, down, Shonage. Ikkyo, but stuck inside. Catch, circle, strike, down, twist. Shihonage. Here, stuck inside, strike. So he has no chance to strike you. Down, twist, throw, Iriminage. Or, as I hope you can understand, take Kote Gaishi. Here, get stuck, turn, twist, stretch, Tengaishi. Side. Inside here, hook, strike, step back, twist, stretch, there. Now let's study Ushiro Waza. This is attack from behind. In Aikido, we have many techniques dealing with the attack from the rear, attack from behind, and these techniques require lots of study and lots of training. The most important thing to remember in practicing this type of technique is first to maintain your balance, and secondly, to move behind your opponent. So the feeling that you want to get in this kind of technique is that as your opponent is moving behind you, you move behind your opponent. And at the same time, try not to lose your balance, and always you have to think about moving out of the line of attack, even though your opponent is behind you. If you practice these techniques well, you develop a kind of consciousness of somebody coming from behind. So you need to develop your instinct, your tuition, your natural defense perception, that even though the opponent is attacking you from an area that you cannot see, you can still sense his attack, sense his movement, and move accordingly. The first basic Ushiro technique is, or attack from behind, is grabbing both hands. Now in practice, there's 3 ways we practice this kind of technique. The first one is a static position. He comes around and grabs. Okay. Just you stay here, let him come behind and grab. This is how we usually begin training this type of technique. The important thing is to develop a consciousness of the person behind you, and then develop your movement so that you can move behind him. If we do in a more natural sense, we're actually moving so that as he's coming behind me, I'm moving behind him. Okay. This is the second method. So as he's approaching me, I'm moving. As he's approaching me, step back, move. In this case, sometimes as we step back, we apply striking technique. We come by, apply striking technique. The important thing is to not let him get around you easily. For instance, if he's trying to get behind me, if I continue to face him, it's very difficult. This is the opportunity I take in my opponent's movement to bring him off balance, to break his timing, and create the opportunity to execute the technique. So, first, static position. Okay. Second, moving position. Okay. And in this case, apply atemi, striking technique. Striking technique. Coming here. Striking technique. Coming here. Then, next, the other way is that as he's coming towards me, I use my hand to control the center of the movement. So he's grabbing, come here. Okay? Okay? So almost I'm initiating the movement. This is not an aggressive movement, but it's a movement to throw him off. As he's coming here, then what happens, he grabs down, catch. From here I start the technique. So, as we continue, it looks like this, here, inside. Again. Okay. Yeah. In this way, we begin to understand and begin to train in all of the techniques involving grabbing from behind, grabbing the wrist from behind. Also, when he grabs, just standing here like this, his attack is very weak. He should lower his hip so that he can develop a good grip. More low, like this. Now he's fully grabbing my hand. So now it's very difficult to lift up. Standing up, this is very good for beginners. Like this. Now you can concentrate on developing the correct movement. Now he grabs a little bit harder, stronger, but not so easy. Not so easy. Here, use your energy. Use your energy. So from here, my energy shouldn't come from the thumb. Hip grab strongly. Drop hip. Grab strongly. Okay. Not lifting up. Hold well. not lifting up, but coming from small finger. So I'm not trying to lift up this way, not trying to lift up. I'm not trying to pick up my hand this way. Okay? The last thing I want to do is let my hand come back like this. Okay? So not lifting up, not trying to move from my thumb, not trying to move my thumb. Use from a small finger. Two hands coming up. Two hands coming up. Sometimes he may pull your hands back this fashion. Now technique becomes difficult. When he grabs, tries to pull back, should stay here. Should stay here. Okay? Sometimes when he grabs and pulls back this way, in order to regain your balance, step back. Okay? From here, it's going to be difficult. Step back. Okay? Don't let him pull you off like this. Now you're going to have a problem. If you feel him pulling and you can't keep your balance, step back, regain your position. From here up, side step, step behind, and both hands coming down. Okay? This basic movement. As your hands coming up, half step to the side, step back, down. Okay? Up. Up. Down. Sometimes in this position, his hand comes a little bit back this way, and it's very difficult to bring back. Sometimes even if I move back, hand's still in bad position, too much to the side. Then slightly turn, then come up. Okay? Slightly turn, then come up. Okay? One of the common problems in this kind of practice is we have a tendency to come up from the side. Okay? Not from the side. Always front. Okay? Always front. Not from side. Not from side. You try to come up from the side, very easy for him to stop. Always come up from the front. Okay? Next, grabbing elbow. Here. Okay? Very similar to grabbing the wrist, but in the case of the elbow, if he grabs too long, your arm will become numb. Move inside. Okay? So if he's holding here, he's stopping the blood to your hand. So after a couple of seconds, you may lose power in your hand. So it's very important to hide this vital point. Bring the hand in. So when he grabs, come inside. Again, not moving side this way. Then don't let your hands come behind you. Moving in. Moving in. And as you move, break his balance. Break his grip. Just coming forward this way, nothing happens. Trying to come up this way, nothing happens. Actually, too weak. Forward here. Okay, then grabbing shoulder. Shoulder. In this case, the important thing is to move offline from your opponent. If I come forward like this, I'm in danger of having him pull me back. As in all these techniques, I'm in danger of having him kick me, pulling me to the side, pulling me side, pulling me back, attacking me. The important thing is to move offline. As he grabs, take a step to side, move offline. If I move forward, I'm still in line of his attack. Move offline. Here, turn. Up. Okay. Move offline. Then come behind him. As you come behind, strike his rib cage and face. Offline. Up. Strike. The reason why the strike is necessary is the strike helps you to position yourself in relation to your opponent. If I'm moving, I pull away, this doesn't reach. I have to be to his side to reach. The same thing in this kind of technique. When he grabs the wrist, I move away from him. It's no good. Move behind. In Ryo Kata Tori, grabbing shoulders, don't move away. Now he's facing me again. Also, punch doesn't reach. Okay? Here, turn, behind him. So with the intention to strike his side, it helps me to move close to his body, not away. No good. Okay? I want to repeat the 3 basic positions for training in Ushiro Waza, or attack from behind. First is Ryote Tori. Important thing is to move your hand forward. Forward. And in all these techniques, half step side, moving behind. The thing you want to be careful is taking a half step side and moving away from your opponent. Okay? Always get the feeling of sliding behind. Move behind quickly. Move behind quickly. When he's grabbing the elbows, the important thing is to hide vital point. Hide the vital point so that your arms don't become numb. Hide the vital point, then turn, moving away. Hide the vital point, then turn, moving away. Hide the vital point, turn, and moving away. In elbow technique, it's important to keep your arms round. Don't let your hands collapse. Don't let your hands collapse. Keep this round feeling. Round feeling. Round feeling. Then the third one, grabbing shoulders. Important thing here is to turn with your hip moving offline. If you try to turn from your shoulder, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck. So turn from your hip. Very important. Okay? So he's holding strongly. Don't move here. Don't use shoulder. Move from your center. Move from your center. Move from your center. And offline. Then back, strike. And from this position, possible to take Ikkyo. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay? Now, going on further, one more basic hold is choking, grabbing. Okay? As soon as his hand comes around your throat, grab. Okay? Don't let him choke. Just too late. As soon as his hand comes around, hook. Okay? As soon as his hand comes around, get this habit. And don't hold from your hand. Hook from your hand, and then draw your elbow down and lock it against your body. So this becomes like a vice, like a hook. Don't just hold like this. Don't just tap. Hook and down. As he grabs, right away. As he grabs, right away. Then this hand, same as in 2 wrist grab, 2 hand grab, forward, forward, step side, back. Change. Forward, side, back. Okay. Forward, forward, side, and move back. Problem in training is that you try to move away from your opponent, you're going to get stuck here. You get stuck, pretty soon you have big problems.
So you have to bring up. As you bring up, create opening here, step side, move behind. Then creating technique, up, side, down, catch, catch, Sankyo. Number 3 hold. What I notice in training is sometimes we grab too late. We grab too late. As coming here, down, coming up, then grabbing. Too late. Apply the hold while he's off balance. Catch here. Okay. Hokyū-nage. Two-hand grab. Grabs well, move away, move behind, and throw. Keep your distance, move behind, throw. As we advance in our training, I think we have to begin to understand that we cannot, from the martial arts standpoint, start from this kind of static position, grabbing my wrist, grabbing my elbow, grabbing my shoulder, like this, or choking this. This is too late. This is too late. Okay? From the standpoint of training, we need to start from this position so that we can learn the technique, develop the technique, master the technique. As we master the technique, master the basic movement, learning how to execute the technique properly, then we have to understand it, study it from the standpoint of timing, try to understand it from the standpoint of his attack as a martial art. When we understand it as a martial art, then we can understand it spiritually. We can understand how the key energy, vital energy is working. Generally, we try to understand the energy first and then apply it to the art. This is kind of backwards. Okay, in this case, now grabbing from side. Okay, let's go one more step. Okay, comes back, grabbing. In his effort to grab, you have to take his timing and lead him around. He's grabbing around this way. Okay, good attack, please. Make a good attack. That's right. Strong attack. That's right. Good. Grab. Now I can move. Okay. So if he's just making weak attack, you don't have to do anything. Okay. If he's making a strong attack, a real attack, and actually putting myself in jeopardy, then I have to move. Okay. But just weak attack, good, nothing. Don't worry.
Then, same time, as he's grabbing you, initiate the movement. Okay. So as he's trying to come around you, whether he's grabbing your wrist, grabbing your elbow, grabbing here, choking, whatever, don't let him get behind you. In his effort to get behind you, you're already behind him. Continuing the study of Ushiro technique, or attack from behind, in a choke grab situation, it's important to come center, move side. Don't try to twist your body, because you're going to run into his shoulder, run into his arm, then you're going to get stuck. If you try to move back against him, you're going to telegraph your movement. So very subtly, smooth shift. Then it's possible. One more way of doing this attack: coming forward, bringing up, and this time twist, keeping his elbow pressed against your chest. Twist. Step behind him. Actually bring him down. This is a very popular technique. Aikido, up, twist, just behind. In training, when you're practicing this technique, try not to just use your hands. What I mean is that some people, without using their hip, rely on the hand to try to move behind and throw the opponent. For example, looks like this. Then they find hand doesn't reach. Don't move from your hand. Concentrate on twisting your hip. Twist your hip. Once you twist your hip, don't break your balance by trying to reach over his head. Step behind him. Actually bring him down. Up, turn. Ushiro ryote tori is one of the basic techniques in Aikido. It's important to watch your opponent's spacing as you move behind him, as he's moving to attack you from behind. Again, the most fundamental techniques in this kind of training is ikkyo, nikkyo, sankyo, yonkyo, the first, second, third, and fourth hold, using irimi, the entering movement, and tenkong, the turning movement. It's very, very important that the student develop proficiency in this kind of technique. As I've mentioned before, in the Ushiro waza, or attacks from the rear type of technique, is move deeply behind your opponent to offset his balance without losing your own balance. One of the problems in this kind of training is that once we break his balance, sometimes we bring our hands up and we allow him to regain his own balance. Once you break his balance, keep your center low. Keep your opponent low as you're completing the technique. Ushiro ryo hiji tori, ryo hiji meaning grabbing both elbows from behind, ushiro, is basically the same as ryote tori. It's important to keep the circle created by your arms strong. Don't allow him to squeeze your arms together. It's also important to turn your hand inward. This hides the vein inside your elbow and keeps him from stopping the blood to your hand. In practice, one finds that if he grabs too tightly, if you don't hide this vein by turning your hand feels numb and begins to get weak. As in all Ushiro techniques, attack from behind, it's important to move behind your opponent skillfully and effectively. Don't allow your opponent to stop you by his grip, but break his grip by using your hand and using your body movement. Again, as in Ushiro techniques, it's always important to be aware of your opponent, and as he's moving behind you to attack, you take that moment to move behind him. In Ushiro Ryokata Tori, it's basically the same as training for Ushiro Ryote Tori, where he grabs the hands, or Ushiro Ryohiji Tori, where he grabs the elbows. One point in Ryokata Tori, or Ushiro Ryokata Tori, is that it's very easy for him to stop your movement by applying power against the grip grabbing your shoulders. Move from your hips. It's also important in Ryo Katatori to move off line of his attack because you don't want to get kicked from behind by your opponent. Again, in executing Ryo Katatori, move deeply behind your opponent as he moves behind you. Watch your spacing and watch your timing. In advanced training, it's helpful to apply a temiwaza or striking technique as you move behind him. In Ryo Katatori, one should strike the face and his rib cage at the same time.